Hi there, my name is Sarah Kaminsky, and I'm excited to share more about a plant-centered approach to eating, what it is, and how it can work for you. I know your time is super valuable, so we're gonna dive right in. So you're in the right place if you feel like you're always bloated, maybe struggling with digestive issues. You may be continually trying diets, but you still feel unhealthy or struggle to get off excess weight. You're maybe struggling with brain fog or a difficult time focusing. And it's likely that you've heard the term plant-based, but you're maybe just feeling overwhelmed or uninformed to really give it a try. So if you can relate to any of these things, you're going to walk away with a lot of really powerful takeaways today. So we're going to just cut right to the chase. What is a plant-centered diet? Well, it's a diet based on foods derived from plants. So obviously fruits and vegetables, but also whole grains, things like oats, quinoa, rice, nuts, seeds, legumes. So that's things like peas, lentils, beans. And the key here is with some or no animal products. So in short, a plant-centered diet is a plant-forward way of eating. So let's all just take a sigh of relief right now and take the pressure off that it needs to be perfect, right? This is just about adding lots of plant foods into your diet. So over the last 10 plus years that I've been doing this work, I hear the same questions, concerns, worries, fears come up over and over again. So we're going to nip some of those right out of the gate. The first one, and this is a big one, do I have to give up all the foods that I love? And the answer is absolutely not. I would never recommend that someone stop eating baked goods, chocolate, tacos, pancakes, nachos, whatever your thing is that you love. I absolutely do not recommend that you give those up. Everything that is pictured here is plant-centered. They're packed with nutrients and are absolutely delicious. The second is it vegan, vegetarian, or whole food plant-based? And the answer to this is it really just depends. So I fully believe that there are as many diets as there are people on the planet. So while some people will thrive from a fully vegan diet, vegetarian, or a whole food plant-based diet, it's not necessarily this cookie cutter approach for everyone. And we're going to talk about more about that here in a little bit. So depending on your body and your unique needs, you may feel good incorporating a little bit of dairy into your diet, incorporating some eggs, incorporating even a little bit of animal protein, or not incorporating anything except for plant foods into your diet, or anywhere in between. Your body is unlike every other body on the planet. The one thing that all of these dishes have in common is that they're plant-centered, they're plant-forward, they're very plant-heavy, and we all reap the benefits of incorporating more plant foods without necessarily being vegan, vegetarian, or whole food plant-based. The next one is funny, but it's really a question that I get. Will I be eating like a squirrel, like eating nuts and seeds and greens and tree bark? No, absolutely not. While you probably will be incorporating more nuts, more seeds, more herbs and greens, like in these dishes featured here, it is not going to taste terrible. And this is hands down the number one question I get. Will I get enough protein? If I start to eat more plant foods, then how am I going to get my protein? And I love to just show a very visual example of this. And we're going to use this salad today. So this is just a big salad, right? And inside we have kale, pears, onions, a variety of different seeds like sunflower, sesame, paprika. And just with the plant foods, so all these veggies and seeds, we're packing in 21 grams of protein. Now, the dressing or the drizzle that you see on this salad is comprised of tahini, which is a sesame seed paste, and miso, which is a soybean paste. So the dressing is delivering another 4 grams of protein. We threw in a little bit of feta cheese for fun here, which is packing in another 5 grams of protein, which means that this salad with just a tiny bit of dairy is packed with 30 grams of protein, and that's one meal. So yes, when it's done in the right way, you absolutely will get enough protein. I wanted to share a little bit about what brings me here before we move on today. So this is a picture of me. I grew up in Pittsburgh, and I graduated from Fox Chapel Area High School. I went on to study education at West Virginia University. During that time, I also became a certified Pilates instructor, and I began teaching mat classes, 3 different levels of mat classes. And this is sort of the very beginning of my journey and experience in the wellness space. I circled back to Pittsburgh to attend Carlow University to earn my master's in education, and I went right into the classroom and began teaching 1st and 2nd grade. I love to teach, but my son Ziggy came in 2014, and he is the one that really inspired me to start to get creative around how I could continue to teach, do what I love, and also open up a little bit more flexibility in time and in my schedule so I could better balance family and work. So I started writing a food blog in 2015. That's sort of where it all started. And I began offering support and accountability to women as they began to incorporate more plant foods and unprocess their diet. My work has evolved quite a bit since I first began. I've gone on to earn my health coach certification as well as my life coach certification from Health Coach Institute, and we welcomed our 2nd son trip in March of last year. So we're going to talk about a couple of problems today, but I know that you didn't come here to listen to problems, you came for solutions. So we're going to give you some solutions as well. But the first problem is the diet culture in our country, or in really the Western world, right? So we're always sort of pigeonholing ourselves in this space of, well, I'm eating low carb, or I'm doing paleo, I'm counting my points, or I'm doing keto, or right now I'm vegan. And what this does is it sort of puts us in a place of operating from deprivation, and none of this is sustainable for most people for the long term. Hence the term yo-yo diet. We're either on one of these sort of frameworks of eating or we're not. This is not serving us, right? The second problem is that we are moving entirely way too fast. Now, in this season of where we kind of are in the world, I think it's sort of forced us in a good way to slow down quite a bit, but even still, moving so quickly has us reaching for convenience foods, it has us skipping meals, and it has us eating and living under an immense amount of stress. The last problem that we're going to talk about today is that we're eating a lot less of this and a lot more of this. So we're eating fewer whole foods as Mother Nature intended them to be, and we're reaching for more processed, prepared convenience foods. So the repercussions of this are real. We, as a nation, we're getting sicker. Nearly 1 in 4 adults are living with diabetes or are pre-diabetic. Cancer rates have increased 63% over the last 100 years. Heart disease remains the #1 cause of death in America, and it has increased nearly 65% since the turn of the last century. And childhood obesity rates are climbing every single year. These stats come from the Center for Disease Control. As Americans, we struggle with skin issues, fertility issues, hormone imbalances, We have irritable bowels, brain fog, low moods. We're not motivated. But do you want to know something really amazing? Up to 40% of annual deaths from each of the leading causes in the US are preventable with diet and lifestyle. I'm going to say that one more time, and I really want it to sink in. Up to 40%, almost half, of the annual deaths from the leading causes in our country are absolutely preventable with diet and lifestyle. Pretty incredible, right? So I get it. You really want to cook and eat healthier, more balanced meals, but you feel overwhelmed, you don't know where to start, so you just don't start at all, or it just feels too hard. But my question to you is, at what expense? I remember being in that boat. Like, I really want to do it, but I don't really know where to start, or I feel really overwhelmed. This is a photo of me when I was in that space in my 20s. I struggled with chronic constipation, headaches, and fatigue. I was always tired. It didn't matter if I slept for 12, 13 hours, I would still wake up and I never felt rested. Shortly after this photo was taken, I began to educate myself around our food system, where our food comes from, the power that food has to heal our bodies. I began to implement what I learned, and it absolutely transformed my life. I no longer struggle with chronic headaches, with the constipation, and I wake up feeling rested even as the mom of 2 young boys. So I'm healthier now in my 30s than I was in my 20s. And I'm just proof that you absolutely can just choose to start showing up differently for yourself. Just about starting where you are. And we're going to talk about how to do that today. So this is a really beautiful snapshot that shows us what the standard American diet looks like as a percentage of calories in food consumption. So 63%, this big yellow chunk down in the bottom, is representative of processed foods. So if you remember a few slides back, we showed those pictures on the right-hand side. So these are foods that are processed, convenience foods. They're packed with added fats, oils, refined grains, preservatives, sugars, right? So well over half of what the standard American diet looks like is comprised of these foods. Now we're moving up to the red portion of this pie chart, and we see that 25% of the standard American diet is comprised of animal foods. So this is obviously things like meat and fish, but also dairy, eggs, and seafood. What's really, really important to kind of connect here is that cholesterol and saturated fat are the primary source. They're primarily sourced through animal foods. Now let's think back to that stat that we just learned about heart disease being the #1 cause of death in the US. There's a huge correlation here. Cholesterol and saturated fat and heart disease. They're absolutely interconnected. Now, what is most concerning to me as I look at this pie chart is the green area. And this is the 12% comprised of plant foods. The standard American diet is only filled 12% with plant foods. So these, again, are those things like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, legumes. We're going to talk about why these foods are so important here in a minute. But what's so important to note here, you notice that that pie is sort of split in half into a light green and a dark green. That's because up to half of this category could be processed. So I want you to think about the spinach in your frozen spinach souffle, the apples in your apple pie, the almonds in your candy bar. So that means that only 6% of the standard American diet is comprised of whole plant foods. And these are those things that we saw on the left-hand side of the screen a few slides back. So why more plant foods? Why is it so important? Well, for lots of different reasons, right? So some things are happening on the inside of our body that we cannot see. The first is fiber, right? So fiber is only found in plant foods. We know that fiber is an essential component to healthy digestion, to keep things moving, for a healthy gut, right? But we're also learning more about the gut-brain axis, meaning that the healthier our digestive system, the healthier our colon, the better things are moving, the healthier our brain is. So it's supporting our mental health. We're suddenly happier. We are no longer struggling with symptoms of anxiety and depression. The healthier the gut, the healthier our brain. And fiber is such a key component. Plant foods are also packed with not only macronutrients, but also micronutrients. So we know that macronutrients are those key players: protein, carbohydrates, and fat. These are essential to stay alive, right? But what's cool about plant foods is they're also packed with micronutrients. So these are things like phytonutrients, antioxidants, phytochemicals, vitamins, minerals. These are the things that feed our body at the cellular level. They help to support our immunity, which is important always, but especially right now in the world that we're living in. These micronutrients help to naturally combat disease. They're anti-aging. There are just loads and loads of benefits. Plant foods are also super nutrient dense, which means that you get a whole lot of nutrients for a relatively low caloric load. So you can eat larger portions and reap the benefits. Plant foods are also very water dense. So it's really essentially getting a double bang for your buck. So this is what's happening inside. What is happening on the outside of our body? Well, a lot. And if we kind of break this down, we know that physically, and this was my experience, lost weight or inches. I suddenly was no longer battling that quote unquote stubborn 5 to 10 pounds. It is not uncommon for people to experience lower blood pressure, blood sugar, lowered cholesterol, balanced hormones, healthier hair, nails, skin, lessened joint pain, regulated bowels. Mentally, like we were just talking about, it is not uncommon to experience eliminated brain fog, clarity of thinking, increased energy, overall just sense of happiness and regained control, as well as reduced symptoms of anxiety and depression. Now, what's really cool, and this is another huge perk, is that most people find that they're saving money by incorporating more plant foods. That's because they're more than likely eating more meals at home, which I think is everyone's experience right now. But they're also heading into each week with a plan. They're incorporating more plant-based proteins. So if you think about the cost of a can of beans or a bag of lentils as opposed to a pack of strip steaks or chicken breasts, so that impacts their grocery bill in a really good way. So are you guys ready to implement? If you haven't already grabbed a pen and haven't started taking notes, I recommend that you do that now. I'm going to give everybody 5 actionable things that you can begin doing right away. And the first is to head into each week with a plan. And this may or may not have been something that you were doing prior to COVID-19. And you may be thinking, especially if you're working from home, well, I don't really need to plan my meals anymore, or I don't need to start planning my meals because I'm at home, so I can just grab something if I'm hungry. Well, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. That's what Ben Franklin told us, and it's so true, right? So this doesn't need to be rocket science. This is really just putting some forethought at the front end of your week about what you're going to put on the table into your body for yourself and or the people that you cook with, the people that you cook for. Making sure that you get those groceries into your house, whether you're heading to the grocery store or utilizing a grocery delivery service. And then maybe even doing a little bit of prep on the front end so you have easy grab and go options throughout the week. As a busy mom of 2, I know that even when I'm working from home, if I don't do this, 2 o'clock comes around and I say, oh my gosh, why am I so hungry? And then it's too late. So here I am suddenly eating the crust of somebody's peanut butter and jelly and microwaving my cold coffee from 7 a.m. So it's so important to head into each week with a plan. The second is to tune into how you feel. So really beginning to increase our awareness around how are certain foods impacting my energy. Do I notice that I eat something and then 30 minutes later I want to take a nap? Or do I beginning to make those connections around, okay, I ate that meal and here I am 4 hours later still feeling energetic and satiated? How do certain foods impact my digestion? So do I notice that I eat something and then blow up like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? Do I eat something and then notice that I am backed up, constipated for days afterward? Do I notice that I eat something and suddenly am experiencing a surge of gas or urgency? And then the opposite again is also true. So what foods am I noticing are really supporting my digestion and my regularity? How do certain foods impact my weight or the way that my clothes fit? I'm not a big fan of stepping on the scale every day or even regularly. I wouldn't recommend that for most people. But we all have to get dressed every day. So really beginning to have an increased awareness around how certain foods affect the way that my clothes fit on my body. And the last two are really important, right? So how do certain foods impact both my moods and my relationship with myself? As I reflect back to that photo that I shared with you of me in my 20s, a few slides back, there was no connection between the foods that I ate and my moods or what I had to say to myself. I had a very poor relationship with myself and my body for many years. And what I've learned over time is most of that was rooted in the foods I was putting in my body. The next, and this is really tangible, is to incorporate at least one fruit or veggie with every snack or every meal that you eat throughout the day. So just being very intentional about, okay, am I incorporating some fresh fruit or veggies with this meal and or snack? So whether or not you're incorporating, animal proteins, dairy, whatever that looks like for you, am I also incorporating at least one fruit or veggie with every meal or snack? So these are three really great examples, and these are 100% plant-based meals with no animal products, but they're loaded with veggies. Look how we loaded up even with our pancakes in the morning. We packed half of our plate full of fresh with berries. Everybody loves a good taco, right? So even if we're going to eat beef or turkey tacos, chicken, fish tacos, how can I load up some extra plant foods with this meal? Maybe adding some beans, onions, peppers, tomatoes, avocado, lettuce, really packing in the veggies. This image here on the left shows lentils, beets, and butternut squash. These are three foods that I didn't eat until I was well into my 30s. So we can do hard things. This one is so, so important. And it's to start where you are and release the idea that it needs to be perfect. So diet culture in our country has us sort of brainwashed into thinking that it needs to look a certain way. What if we released all of that and we just committed to adding more fresh foods to each one of our meals? What if we just committed to one meatless meal one day a week, if that's where we are? If you're tuning into this presentation today and you feel like you're already doing a lot of this, where are you and where can you begin to implement more? Starting where you are and releasing the idea that it needs to be perfect is such an instrumental piece because it's often the start that stops us. It's the fear that it needs to look a certain way. And the last one that I invite you to today is, what if you just allowed this to be easy and fun? Again, the diet culture has us sort of forced to thinking that this has to be hard. It has to be like a diet. It has to be based on deprivation. What if we just allowed it to be easy and fun and we let it taste really good? Whenever I first began to implement much of what we're talking about today, it was really overwhelming. I was really committed, but I wasn't really sure where to start. And there were a lot of resources out there, but it all felt really overwhelming. Stir fries and salads got really old really fast. So really what this forced me to do was to get creative in my own kitchen. And the result of that is a recipe series loaded with over 275 and growing plant-centered, allergen-friendly recipes. And now I'm able to share this gift that has absolutely transformed my life with people like you that are ready to simplify and streamline this process and just let it be easy and fun. So I'd love to share that with you today. So the recipe series is housed on my website, sarahkaminsky.com. And when our members log in, they see this sort of housekeeping page with just basic things that they need to know, as well as all of the support and troubleshooting resources that they may need. Every single week, what we do is offer a suggested weekly meal plan. So we plan your meals for you. So you can see that here we have 5 different recipes featured. And if you click on any one of these, it's going to bring you just right to the recipe itself. We only tell you what you need to know. I don't know how many people share the frustration of looking at a blog post and having to scroll down through loads of different photographs just to get to the recipe itself, or just lots of unnecessary steps. We just eliminate all of that. Our recipes are generally, they come together in 30 minutes or less. There is an exception every now and again if you need to roast a vegetable or something like that, a root vegetable, but almost always everything comes together in 30 minutes or less. We include a breakfast recipe and 1 lunch recipe, and these are designed to batch prep. That means that you're cooking once or preparing food once at the front end of your week, taking maybe an hour, and then you have easy grab and go options for breakfast and lunch all week long. It's incredible. And then we also offer 3 dinner recipes, and these are really just to sprinkle in over the course of the week. With every meal plan each week, we include a grocery list with meal prep tips. And I'm going to open this up for you guys here. So this is printable or downloadable. You could also copy and paste this right into whatever grocery service that you might be using. At the top, we highlight the recipes so that you see these for later reference. And then we just streamline the whole grocery shopping experience for you. We use shared ingredients, which means if you're buying a big box of spinach, over the course of the week, you're going to use that whole box of spinach. Or if one recipe is using oats, then another recipe that week likely is using oats, or we use the same nuts or condiments. This is done intentionally to help you to save money, save time, and to just simplify grocery shopping. You're going to notice that this grocery list has a lot of bold-faced items. These are things that we would consider to be pantry staples. They're things that you likely already have on hand. If you don't already, then you will, over time, begin to kind of stockpile these things in. So you can see that there's really not much left over after those pantry staples are in. Look how simple grocery shopping becomes. Right now, in the state of the world, we are offering food swaps. We feel that this is absolutely a time of flexibility. We do feel confident that Everyone should be able to easily access everything that we include in our recipes week to week, but we know that just in case something isn't available, that we can do the very best with what is available. So we offer some suggestions for different ingredient swaps. And then this part we love, and this is our meal prep tip. So we give you 4 to 5 different actionable things to do every week. Say, hey, if you do these things at the front end of your week, everything is going to be so easy. These meal prep tips are going to take at most an hour to an hour and a half at the beginning of the week and are going to save you loads of time throughout the week. So you might be thinking, what if I don't like what is featured, or I don't really want to try what is featured on the weekly meal plan? No problem. You also have access to this search engine portal. So this is our search engine portal of over 275 plant-centered, allergen-friendly recipes. You can search by dietary need or preference, so nut-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, egg-free, soy-free, vegan, vegetarian. You can search by ingredient, just like you would a Google search, like broccoli recipes, black bean recipes. You can search by meal type, so maybe you just want some lunch inspiration, or you want a taco recipe. You can also search by seasonality, so winter, spring, summer, fall. And then we're also always adding little bonus things like beverages and sweets. I'm just going to type for an example in here, lunch. And we see lots of different things pop up. Some people might say, well, why would I need this when I have Google and Pinterest? Well, this just helps to streamline the process. Sometimes it feels really overwhelming to get thousands of search results. So this just helps to streamline the process and help to just let it be easy and fun. Maybe we want to look for a broccoli recipe. So we type in that ingredient. There are tons of different ways that you could type in and see and explore the search engine. The next thing is our resource archive. So there's something in here for everybody. These are printable or downloadable guides. So we have dairy and egg substitutes. If you are cutting down on dairy or eggs, or they just don't do well for your body, this is a great guide for you. We have an easy button swap guide for those that are short on time or really just prefer convenience, or just hands down don't really like to cook all that much. This guide is for you. We have a kitchen pantry staple guide. These are the things that we recommend that are stockpiled in all kitchens. This is a great resource, especially for right now. We have meal planning templates, both printable and electronic, a seasonal produce guide, video archives, as well as our meal plan archives. So our meal plan archives are every archived plan that we have released in 2020. You have access to those as well as the grocery lists that pair with those. And then we also have this video archive, which is an awesome resource. If you click on this, you have access to loads of short video tutorials. These are 2 to 3, maybe 4-minute little tutorials, everything about how to cook a spaghetti squash, cut a pomegranate, how to zest a lemon, prepare a leek, how to prepare butternut squash. We also have preservation techniques to help you save more time and money, shopping hacks, what to look for when buying nut butter, yogurt, or cauliflower pizza crust. We also have some nutrition and health topics like nutrient density, portion sizes, and also how to maximize pantry storage. We're always adding little tidbits to this, lots of valuable information in here. The last resource that our members have is our Facebook community. This is completely optional, but if you like to stay connected with me on the day-to-day, have a place to stay connected with others who are also committed to this lifestyle and just incorporating more plant foods into their diet, and just to share and be inspired, this is a great resource for you as well. So this is the Veg Out Meal Plan series in a nutshell. You can choose to plan our meals with your meals with our recipes, or you just hit the easy button and follow our suggested weekly meal plan with the grocery list. You have access to the search engine catalog, which now is over 275 recipes and growing. We add new content to this every single week. You have access to the resource catalog with all of the awesome tools that I just shared with you, as well as access to the community page on Facebook if you'd like to be connected and supported. These are photographs of people that have all begun to layer this stuff in and have made it work in a way that feels sustainable for them and their lifestyle for the long term. I'm not going to read all of these little short bios, but I did want to highlight two. Over here on the far right with the two kids, this is Lacey. She came to me with a weight loss goal. She just wanted to get back to her pre-pregnancy weight, but a welcome side effect for her is that her doctor took her off of her cholesterol medications. This is so incredible and not uncommon at all. Down here on the bottom left, this is Donna. She came to me with some GI issues that over the course of 3 months or so, we were able to completely resolve. But a welcome side effect for her was also her arthritic symptoms completely dissolved because we really eliminated the amount of processed inflammatory foods that she was eating. So she had trigger finger where her finger basically was locked in place. She called me and said, Sarah, my trigger finger unlocked. So between her trigger finger and her hip pain, it completely dissolved. This is real stuff, guys. So this is what you need to know. The Veg Out Recipe Series is a qualifying medical expense. That means that it is a qualifying expense through health savings accounts, flex spending accounts, as well as any wellness reimbursement program offered by employers. So we're not quite in a place where health insurance is covering the cost of nutrition and lifestyle resources, but this is a huge step in the right direction. Access to everything inside that I shared with you with the online support group component and access to me is $24 a month, so well less than $1 a day. And I would like to discount your first month for you to just help you get started. So this is how you take advantage of that. You're going to head to my website at sarahkaminsky.com. You click member login in the upper right-hand side, and then you just create your account. So you'll plug in your email, your personal info, and then you're going to create your own unique password. And then before you check out, you're just going to plug in the word winning, all caps, no spaces, and it's going to apply $5 off. So for $19, you'll have a whole month's access to the Veg Out Recipe Series and everything that I've shared with you today, and begin to really reap the benefits. I'm so excited and grateful to share this resource to those who need it. Right now, we're cooking more at home, and cooking is such a beautiful way to stay connected not only with yourself, but with the people that you love, that you live with. To cook a meal and share it with somebody that you can't really spend a whole lot of time with right now is also such a gift, and this is such an incredible resource to do that. So I welcome questions, and I encourage you to leave questions if you're watching this on Facebook, to just leave them in the comments. I'll pop over to this page over the course of the next week or so and make sure that I'm answering any questions. I welcome you to email me directly at info@sarahkaminsky.com. And I'd love to stay connected on social. You can find me on Facebook at Veg Out Project. I'm also on Instagram at Veg Out Project. I share lots of value on both of those feeds as well. If you have any questions at all whatsoever or run into any tech issues, please just send me a quick email. I'm here to help. And I hope that you are walking away with lots of incredible value today and some actionable things that you can do to improve your health, increase your energy, improve your digestion, and just continue to carry on from a place of gratitude and joy as we continue to just navigate this strange space in the world. Your body is the most valuable asset that you have. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I look forward to staying connected.